Hi, ladies. I'd like to talk to you about something that I find probably pretty right on. We're all looking at a situation where we feel like we're totally out of control. I mean, like, what is it that we're going to be able to do about this situation over there in Israel? So I was trying to figure, yes, everybody's saying Tehillim, yes, we pray every day. But I think that if we could take on having more peace in our homes and within, maybe that would help. Like having conflict in our homes as well as internally is very, very disruptive to the energy around us. So while, look, am I saying that this is going to stop the war? No. But what I'm saying is that we want to have some feeling that we're taking something on, and maybe it'll be good for the cause that we're all suffering from. So many times I go over, the brain and how this amygdala thing is responsible for the fight or flight, and we get in these cycles with our partners, and this is a much longer class than I want to go through right now, but I wanted to give you some things that you might be able to stave off some arguments that you might be facing, whether it be with workers, your parents, your kids, or your partner, where you'd be able to be addressing the situation, so indirectly you'll feel like you had something to say, as opposed to shutting up and saying nothing, and also by being able to not speak aggressively, which will bring out their defense mechanism and keep yourselves in this spiral that we keep finding ourselves in. So I've written these things down. The first one I'd like to say is saying to this person, that's your opinion. So what does saying to someone, that's your opinion, do? Briefly, what that does is it gives them a place to be able to voice their opinion. And even though you don't agree with them, you haven't come out in a direct confrontation, but yet you let them know very subtly that you do disagree by saying that's your opinion. And you get your point across much better this way. Also, you're entitled to feel this way. Telling somebody that they're entitled to feel the way they feel does the same exact thing. It doesn't completely disregard what they're saying. It gives them a feeling like entitlement to think and say what they're saying. You are disagreeing with them, but not in a direct confrontation. I'm talking about trying here to circumvent these continuous elephants in the room and these continuous fights that we're having. You could also say, I'm not available for this conversation right now. Maybe it's the wrong time. Maybe you'll never get back to this conversation. But it pushes the person off by holding a boundary that right now, this is not a good time for me. And I'm going to not discuss this issue without going into direct confrontation. We just see things differently. Sometimes that's enough to be able to listen to a person explain their side, and you don't buy it, no how, but we see things differently. That's it. That's all you have to say, to let them know that you don't agree with them, and that's it. The old one, let's agree to disagree. We all have heard that one. I will not tolerate being spoken to this way. That's another boundary. Like, I'm not getting pulled into this. You are acting and speaking aggressively to me. I am not going to allow my amygdala, my child, my fight or flight to get engaged. That is what that statement means. And here's a really good one. I'm done explaining myself. I'm done explaining myself is perfect, because the likelihood that you have tried before, and many times probably, to get your point across, but it's not going in because they're in a state of in a defense mechanism, and when you're in a defense mechanism, the hearing shuts down. So you're really talking to yourself. So there's no point in doing that. So it's like, I'm done explaining myself. That doesn't work for me. In other words, I don't want to do it. Just, that doesn't work for me. Let them say, let them talk, let them give over what they want to hear, what they want you to hear. That doesn't work for me. You don't have to explain to them why. You don't have to explain anything. Another good one is, I hear you. I hear you. Now that obviously speaks for itself, because, I think that's that's a favorite. I hear you, I hear. What does that do? That allows the person to know that after they got done venting, whatever they were doing all over you, I hear you, I hear. And that's it. Not every time something is said do you need to make a comment about it or a comeback. That says it pretty good, I'd say. This isn't my favorite, but this is also pretty good. I'm focusing on my peace right now. In other words, I can't have this conversation right now. I'm keeping myself calm, and I'm at this moment focusing on myself, on my peace. So that's, like a couple of good things to, I would say, jot them down and kind of memorize them and use them whenever you need them, because there's ways in which to speak to people that doesn't bring up aggression. And what we want to do is get rid of aggression. We could see it out there, we could see it in the house, and we could see it inside here. So be very mindful also of the way you're speaking to yourself in here. We don't talk negatively to ourselves. We're not aggressive with ourselves. We have to change the voice, and we have to change the speech. So, Zrat Hashem, we should see better days here.